Hey, this is Arjun, and I'm the CEO of Doola.com. Doola is a business in a box, and we are a venture-backed startup that has successfully raised over $13 million from the likes of Y Combinator, HubSpot Ventures, Nexus Venture Partners, Cody Sanchez, Graham Stephan, Sahil Bloom, just to name a few. Along the way, we've also helped over 10,000 entrepreneurs start, run, and grow their dream business from all over the world. I promise you by the end of this video, I'm going to explain the difference between an SSN, EIN, and ITIN. I'll explain how they're different, and the way we're going to do this is in a couple steps. First, we'll help understand what is a tax identification number, or a TIN. Then we'll walk through what is a social security number, or an SSN. Then we're going to walk through what is an employer identification number, that's an EIN. We'll then run through what is an individual taxpayer identification number, that is an ITIN. And then I'll walk through how to actually get support in getting an ITIN or an EIN. Don't know the difference between an SSN, EIN, or ITIN? Don't sweat, you're not alone. And this is one of the most common questions we get. And look, acronyms seriously suck. At the end of the day, it's hard to know what the difference is, and it's hard to know whether or not you actually need one for your business. Do I need an SSN? Do I need an EIN? Or do I need an ITIN? How are they different? Tax numbers are confusing. How can you tell the difference? Can you use them interchangeably? You might be wondering, which do I need? I'm going to break this down right now. Let's start by understanding tax identification numbers. A tax identification number, or TIN, is a unique number identifying an individual, business entity, or nonprofit organization. Each person or company must have its own TIN, or taxpayer identification number. Now, taxpayer identification numbers are available from any country, but the application process and format vary. In the US, anyone filing annual tax returns with the IRS must have a TIN. So a TIN, a tax identification number, can include an SSN, a social security number, an EIN, an employer identification number, an ITIN, an ATIN, and a PTIN. The IRS uses these 9-digit numbers to track taxpayers. The two most common U.S. tax identification numbers are social security numbers, that's SSN, and employer identification numbers, that's EIN. In addition, the U.S. also issues an individual taxpayer identification number, that's an ITIN, to non-residents or resident aliens, their spouses, and children if they meet certain criteria. You may also be eligible for a TIN for pending U.S. adoptions called an ATIN. There's also a preparer taxpayer identification number called a PTIN. Okay, so we've defined a bunch of those acronyms. Now let's double click a bit more. What is a social security number, or SSN? A social security number, commonly abbreviated as SSN, is issued to individuals. U.S. citizens, permanent residents, and some temporary residents can apply for a social security number. SSNs are the only U.S. TIN, or taxpayer identification number, that the IRS doesn't issue. Instead, SSNs are actually issued by the Social Security Administration. A social security number is formatted in 9 digits with a structure that looks like 9-digit number, 3 digits, dash 2 digits, dash 4 digits. You'll need an SSN for legal U.S. employment or to take advantage of other government services. All U.S. citizens, permanent residents, and temporary non-immigrant workers need a social security number. Children need a social security number or an ITIN for parents to claim them as a dependent and gain some tax benefits. That means most parents will apply for an SSN for their child. It's free to apply for an SSN, however, you could also pay for a service to complete the application process for you. According to the Social Security Administration, people who can apply for an SSN include the following. So this is the list of people who can actually apply: non-citizens, international students, foreign workers, citizen children, deferred action for childhood arrival applicants, domestic violence survivors. How do you apply for an SSN? To apply for an SSN, you need to complete Form SS5. This is application for a social security card, and you're going to have to provide evidence of your identity, age, and status in the U.S. Alternatively, you can also visit a local social security office or call to apply for an SSN. You can apply by phone on the number 1-800-772-1213, and this office is typically open between 8 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. According to the Social Security Administration, you can expect your Social Security card within 2 weeks after you have submitted everything to process the application. This time assumes that verification of immigration documents with the USCIS is complete. What is an employer identification number, or EIN? An employer identification number, or EIN, is issued to business entities, including LLCs, C corporations, trusts, or estates that must pay taxes. Think of an EIN as the social security number for your business, and you can use an EIN to report capital gains and business income for taxation purposes. An EIN is formatted like an SSN with 9 digits, but it's distributed differently. An EIN reads as XX-XXXXXX, so it's 2 X's dash 7 X's. Generally, any business entity actually needs an EIN, and this includes LLCs, S corporations, C corporations, and 501c3 nonprofits, trusts, estates, and LLCs for non-US residents. And you're going to need an EIN to hire employees, and it's required to open a business bank account, to file taxes, or even withhold taxes from income from other wages. How do you apply for an EIN? To get an EIN, you must fill out Form SS4 with the IRS. The Form SS4 is application for EIN. You can apply for an EIN online, by phone, fax, or by mail, and all business entities must apply for an EIN before beginning operations. The application is going to ask for the name of the company's principal officer, partner, trustor, owner, or any other title, along with their taxpayer identification number if they have one. Now, what I'll clarify here is that you can get an EIN even if you are a non-US resident. However, if you are a US resident with a US social, you can actually apply online. It's a bit faster. If you do not have a US social and you're a non-resident, you have to fax Form SS4 to the IRS, and I recommend fax versus mail because it's faster. How long it takes to get the EIN varies on the application method. So if you apply online, you can actually get it immediately. If you apply by mail or fax, processing can take 2 to even 12 weeks. I recommend fax again because it's slightly faster. Hey, before we head into the next half of the video, I want to quickly show you how you can get started with your business. Starting a business involves a lot of moving parts, but wouldn't it be helpful to have a trusted guide by your side? That's where Doola comes in. We make sure your business formation is smooth, accurate, and sets you up for success. Whether you need help with paperwork, setting up your LLC or C Corp, opening a US bank account, or navigating tax and compliance, we are here to take care of it all, so you can focus on growing your business while Doola handles the rest. You can head over to Doola.com and get started with our starter plan, which includes formation filings, an EIN, an operating agreement, a registered agent, a mailing address, and full access to our community where you can connect with other entrepreneurs from all over the world. We know this can be a scary process, so if you have any questions, you can book a free one-on-one consultation with one of our Doola experts. We want to help you feel 100% confident getting your business off the ground. All right, that's it for me. Let's get back to the video. What is an individual taxpayer identification number, or an ITIN? An individual taxpayer identification number, or ITIN, is offered to some non-resident and resident aliens, their spouses, and dependents. You cannot get an ITIN if you're eligible for an SSN. ITINs are arranged in the same format as an SSN with 9 digits. So that's XXX-XX-XXXX, 3 to 4 digits. A foreign person who doesn't have an SSN and can't get one can get an ITIN. If you're not eligible for an SSN, but you need to file taxes or open a bank account in the US, you may need an ITIN. According to the IRS, a foreign resident who doesn't have and can't get an SSN must use an individual taxpayer identification number. The IRS defines a foreign person as a resident alien for income tax purposes based on the number of days they are present in the United States. How do you apply for an ITIN? To apply for an ITIN, you need to complete Form W7 and submit supporting documents for your resident status. You can get help applying for an ITIN through certain banks, colleges, or accounting firms. According to the IRS, if you qualify for an ITIN and your application is complete, the IRS will send a letter assigning your tax identification number within 7 weeks, but the truth is, this can take up to 11 weeks or more if you apply during peak tax times or apply from abroad. Getting support getting a taxpayer identification number. Whether you're launching a business or establishing yourself as a US tax resident, the work to set up the application process can be time-consuming and frustrating. Doola offers support if you need to get an EIN for your business, or you need help getting an ITIN as an individual to file taxes, open a business bank account, or even apply for a PayPal account, for example. Stop wasting your time filling out complicated forms. Instead, focus on what you do best, let Doola handle the rest, and we can actually help you get an ITIN or an EIN. Doola offers a 100% money-back guarantee for excellent support and peace of mind. So whether you're a US citizen or a non-resident without a US SSN, Doola can help. Last but not least, let me run through some of the most frequently asked questions we get when it comes to EINs, SSNs, and ITINs. Should I use an EIN or SSN for an LLC? Whether you need an SSN or EIN to file taxes for your LLC is actually going to depend on the business structure. Multi-member LLCs must use an EIN to file taxes. Sole proprietorships and single-member LLCs can use their social security number if they have one. You can check with a CPA for individual considerations for your business. Doola offers free CPA consultations if you're a member of our Total Compliance Plan. Can I use my EIN instead of an SSN for tax purposes? You can use an EIN instead of an SSN on a W-9 if working through an LLC. When you file a W-9 form with any company that pays you more than $600 per year, you can then list either the LLC and its EIN or your individual SSN. Is an EIN only for businesses, or can individuals also obtain one? An EIN is only for businesses. Individuals can get an EIN, again, by establishing a business entity, such as an LLC or corporation. As an individual, you'll use your social security number or your ITIN, that's your individual taxpayer identification number. Again, think of an EIN as the social security number for your business. Do I still need an SSN if I have an EIN? Sole props, LLCs, corporations, partnerships, nonprofit corporation, trust estates, government agencies, and other business entities can all use EIN. To clarify, though, your circumstance, you can speak with a tax advisor to understand your tax situation's obligations. Again, Doola has the ability for you to chat with a CPA if you have questions on this front. Can an ITIN be used as a substitute for an SSN or EIN? If you don't have an SSN, you could use an ITIN to open interest-bearing accounts. You cannot use an ITIN in place of an EIN for business entities. Some states will also allow you to receive a driver's license, driver's permit, or state identification card. Can I use my ITIN for employment purposes? You cannot use an ITIN for employment purposes. An ITIN is only available to residents and non-US residents who are ineligible for US employment. You can get an ITIN for other tax purposes, or if you need to open a PayPal account, for example. Can I apply for both an ITIN and an SSN simultaneously? You could apply for both simultaneously, but since an ITIN will not be issued to you once you have an SSN, it might not make sense. If you are later able to apply for an SSN after previously using an ITIN, you will need to stop using the ITIN. That's a wrap. I hope at this point you have a better understanding of EINs versus ITINs versus SSNs. And again, if you need help at this point getting an EIN or an ITIN, head to the link below, head to Doola.com, and we are more than happy to help. Please do comment if you have any additional questions, and we can't wait to work with you soon. Thanks so much for watching, and you know what to do, just do it.